So one does not realize how many plants one has until they look at all of them. This got a little bit long, so we're going to do it in parts. So welcome to part 1, and I'll see you in part 2. Hello and welcome back, my fellow orchid lovers. I appreciate you coming by for a visit, and this is going to be the beginning of the houseplant tour of September 2021. So I thought I would do it a little bit different for this month, as it is the end of the growing season as we know it. We are heading into fall and the colder months of that word we all don't like. And then I thought again in the spring we would look at them again and kind of see what is going on with them as far as what did they do over their resting period, which a lot of our houseplants continue to grow. They don't have a resting period, but I do know that some of the orchids will slow down depending on how they react to my environment this winter, because this will be the first winter that I've had the number of orchids that I'm going to have since moving into the home and starting my collection. So with that said, let me get a little bit of coffee so I can get this dryness out of my voice, and we're going to start with Les African Violets. I'm going to start with the smaller ones here. So these are the 3 that I propagated, and I have no idea which ones I propagated them from because my daughter has some. I know I took 1 or 2 of hers, and these are the babies that have survived. So the first one, and I'm going to number them after the video because I realized I don't have any way of differentiating, especially between these 2. I mean, I can look at them and I know which is which, but come springtime they may have done things and I won't be able to differentiate. So African Violet number 1, we'll call her that, has put on quite a bit of leaf growth this year, and she is continuing to work on leaves, as you can see down here. I still don't see any blooms, spikes or anything like that. I'm hoping that by next spring we do start seeing some flower spikes come through, because it'd be interesting to see what this looks like from, like I said, it was propagated. Then this is number 2. Again, not quite as much leaf growth as this one, but she is continually putting it up, and as you can see down there in the bottom, she's got one coming and then another one right behind it, and she looks a little bushier than this one, but she doesn't have as much growth on her. Again, I don't know if I propagated her from a burgundy one, a purple one, my lavender one that we're going to look at here shortly. And then this is the smallest of the 3 and the slowest of the growers. So I don't know if something is maybe wrong with her, but you know, we'll let her do her thing. She's continuing to put out leaves, and as you can see, she's got a leaf right there in the middle and a little tiny one coming right behind it. All right, so we'll just move them out of the way real quick. And then a couple of weeks ago, I did a video on leaf propagation for African violets, and I'll post it down in the description below, or I'll put a little tag up in the video here. But this one here is one of the minis, and this was done on the 10th of September, so roughly 2 weeks ago. And so far the leaf is staying plump, and I am keeping the soil moist, not wet but moist. Just as it reaches dryness, I put just a little bit of water in there. This one here is from Lacy White, and again the leaf is, we've got a little bit of curl back here where she dehydrated a little bit. But other than that, she's doing fine, and again, keeping the soil moist. I was kind of, to be honest, expecting them to already be dead because this is my first time propagating directly into soil. Normally what I would do is put them in water first, let the roots kind of create, and then put them in soil. This time, I just put them in the soil. Like I said, there's a video if you want to go watch it. And then this was done on the same day. This is the lavender one, so nice big juicy leaf again. Just a little hint of curl back here where she was dehydrated possibly, but noticing that, I have been making sure to keep the soil moist in there. So it'll be interesting to see if we have any African babies, African violet babies at the end of the winter into spring. Then we have my Harlequin lace, and if I have pictures of any of these, I will go ahead and post those. But I noticed earlier that I did have a flower spike right there, but I believe it has dried out. I'm just going to leave it there just in case. But she kind of got set back a little bit from the various falls of the puppies knocking them over. So she is now regenerating herself here in the leaves. This one, and this one are from the original family. This one was growing when it got knocked over the last time. And then we have the purple lace that also took some damage in the latest fall. And she too had a spike right, oh, I'm gonna move that one right there. Had a spike right down in there. You can kind of see it, but it dried out. So she's trying to rebloom, which, you know, is great. I will let her. And for those of you, just side note, who grow African violets or are new to them, when your leaves start doing this, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's dehydrated if the rest of the leaves are nice and plump. These are just older leaves that are naturally going to die off. So I just let them get to the point where I can just pull them straight off. And then we have a pink variegation, and she's losing her pink variegation, and I just think it's because she's trying to recover herself. The other variegated one that I had did not make it through the last knockover. So she had quite a few leaves knocked off of her, but she is trying to regenerate herself. And I do need to dust these off, and all I do is just take a makeup brush and dust them off in a little circular motion. You just hold your hand underneath the leaf and you just circle around. So this is one of the minis. I believe this is the pink and white one. I'm not sure. But let me see if we see any new growth on her. Real quick, no, I don't see any flowers on her. Okay, here's an example of a leaf that I just kind of let it dry out. Do you see the leaf right up underneath there? It's all dry. Well, I can just pick it right off. So that's usually what I'll do. And this one and the other mini, so both of the minis, and they're pretty bushy, are both in self-watering pots. So I just make sure to keep water in the reservoir, and then this unglazed terracotta absorbs it. So these stay moist almost all the time. Sometimes the reservoirs dry out and the violet dries out, but that's okay because sometimes you can kick it into blooming if you kind of let it dry out and then water it. Let it dry out and water it. You don't want to do it too often, but you can kick them into bloom doing that. And we already talked about Harlequin. I keep doing that. I need to start moving these guys in a different way. But let's look at Miss Lavender here. So earlier she was completely full of blooms, and all of them except for these couple here have gone back. And I just want to show you real quick. So when your African violet blooms fade and die off, do you see how that one right there is gone? If you just take and just pinch it off, you don't have to cut the spike off, but if you just pinch it off, that'll encourage this right here, more growth. So she'll be back in bloom shortly. I don't expect anything to go wrong with her or anything spectacular to happen other than maybe she'll just still be in bloom or be reblooming. And then we have my Lacey. Oh my goodness, look at her. She is just gorgeous. And what I really, really love about her is if you look at, see at the beginning, you can kind of see just a little bit of purple. And then where's the other one? There it is. This one has only been open for a day or so. And you see it's got a little bit more purple. And then as she matures, she loses that purple. But that is just so interesting to watch. But she's got lots of blooms coming. She was under the shelf under a grow light for about 3 months, and all she did was grow leaves, and she was growing straight up. So I moved her back onto the table with the rest of the violets. And the reason I had moved her initially is because, again, the puppies kept jumping up and breaking the leaves. So I was trying to protect her, but since I put her back on the table, she is starting to relax her leaves quite a bit, and within a month she started producing these blooms. So I think she was not getting enough light under there because she was on the very bottom, and on that very bottom it's subdued light. It doesn't have a light on that shelf itself. All right, so that is it with the African violets. Let's move on to the next set. Now we're going to talk about all of these lovelies here. So I'm going to start off with my, I'm not sure if this is a, oh my gosh, it just slipped my mind. I'll put the name on the screen for you guys. Let me just move some of these out of the way. But do you see how poor she looks? Well, I let her dehydrate a little bit too much, and she is now starting to perk up. So I'm not sure what she's going to do. She is trying to grow a new little cane right here, but I do have it strapped, so I may have to relax the straps a little bit to allow more growth. But other than that, I mean, she's just doing whatever it is she does. All right, and then this one here is the banana croton that I got for Mother's Day that also came with a calanche, and it clearly died. But we have a couple of dead leaves back here. There we go. Take those out real quick, sorry. Isn't that something when you're doing something, you're always picking with your plants? You're like, I'm just gonna sit here and relax and enjoy it, but then you see something, you just get to picking on them. Anyway, so I recently, let me move this over just a wee bit, guys, sorry. There we go. So I recently let her get really, really dry because I could not gauge in this pot. This is the pot she kind of came in. So I let her dry all the way. She was totally drooped. And she has perked herself back up. And as I said, she is not as close to the window as she was, so she's not getting as much of the bright light. So she's kind of losing her little striped variegation that she would normally get on the leaves. Some of them do have like a little bit of variegation here and there, but overall, she's not getting that really deep variegation, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I think she still looks pretty. It is what it is, right? All right, and then I set her on the table, guys, sorry. Then we have this gorgeous thing here that I've had since June, and I'm just going to show you the name. I'm not even going to attempt it. And Fernanda from Fernanda's Succulents, if you agree with the name of this, can you just let me know? But she just produces these little tiny growths, and then they get bigger and they keep producing, and she looks like she's going up. So, and she does sit fairly close to the window so she can keep this anthocyanin coming. And of course, with the changing of the way the sun is, my eastern facing window doesn't get as much sun on it as it used to, so the brightness is down. But I'm expecting once the leaves fall off of the two trees out front, I feel like more light will be coming through. And then this Echevera sits right next to her. Look at this. Like, I have a flower spike coming here, and then this one, since I got it, just keeps continually extending. Is that not just gorgeous? Gorgeous. Again, Fernanda, if you're watching, can you just verify for me if this is what they sold it to me as? Let me take the tag out real quick. There you go. I just love this one. I mean, she's just hasn't skipped a beat, like just keeps going and going, like the Energizer Bunny. All right, we'll set you there. And then my little jade propagation attempt here is just, you know, she's growing really slow. I know people whose jades grow really, really fast. She gets bright light. I don't overwater her. Anybody grow a jade? Can you tell me if this is normal? Because I know some people who have them and you go back and see them and like 3 months later, this is like 3 times the size. Maybe they're on steroids, I don't know. But there's the jade. And then this is just another no ID succulent that likes to just climb. I may keep this, I may not keep it. I'm thinking of putting a lot of my like type succulents into like one of those nice succulent bowls, making one of those for next spring. Let me know if you'd like to see that, or if you have any ideas on how to make one look pretty. And then this here, for the longest I thought was an Echevera, but the more I look it up, it keeps calling it a aloe vera, and it is growing kind of laying down, because when I initially got her, she was really tiny. I've had her since April of 2020. She was really tiny, and so I wasn't paying attention as she started growing. She was growing towards the light, and then she just laid, and I just thought that that looked really, really cool, so I left her. But she just keeps doing her thing, just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I'll just show you the back real quick. And let me know if you guys think this is an aloe vera or if it's some other type of a succulent. There we go. I just think she's cool. She's so cute. Then we have a Tradescanthia. I believe it's the red jewel because the underside of the leaves aren't quite, as purple. They're more on the reddish tinge. But she's finally starting to put on some new growth. She just sat and pouted for a little while. And of course she's in this cutesy little pot. I just think that pot is so cute. And then we have my Dracania here. It's the Marginata that I did a repot on and kind of talked about what's been going on. So I've been purposely watering her with tap water. And if you look, do you see this leaf tip dieback? Yeah, they don't like tap water, guys. They like distilled water. So I'm gonna go back to watering her with distilled water just because I just wanted to see what would happen. And of course, she's getting all the leaf tip dieback, as well as she lost like 5 leaves off of her cane after I started watering her with tap water. So guess who's not getting tap water anymore? And then we have our aloe here that has put up, let's see, she finished this because she had this one when I got her in June. And since then she's put up this one, this leaf, and is working on another leaf. So she's doing really well. Again, she sits in the east-facing window along with the echeveras. And then let's look at the string bean. So the string bean is getting rather large. I ended up actually having to stake her in a couple of places. If you look, I have a little small stake, if you can see it through the bushes. But there's a little small stake right here, and then I had to stake her here because she was just starting to get a little leggy. But I really like the way she's growing. It's kind of almost grassy-like. Just gives a nice little texture to where I have her. And again, I set her on the table, so I apologize. All right, and then these are my 2 peperomia frosts. This is what your peperomia frost will look like if you let it get too dry, okay? So key is not to let it get too dry because you will lose perfectly healthy leaves if you do that. And then this was a fairly new leaf that went bye-bye. But that's okay because she's got lots and lots of new growth right down there in the bottom. And then the other one is right here. And she is just loving life. We have an inflorescence right here, or peduncle as it's called. That's her flower. She's got lots of other flowers coming up. Oh, and I lost one. I just knocked it off and knocked the other one off. But they're not very impressive. I usually pull them off. I just left them on for the video. I usually will pull the flowers off because they're just not that impressive. I just love these leaves, how they shine on there. That is so pretty. But I'm expecting her to likely outgrow this pot because there's already roots at the bottom. Let's see if I can do it without dumping her. But can you see right in here, there's a little bit of roots. So I expect her to outgrow this pot shortly. And we just put her in this pot a few months ago. And then these are my 2 peperomia. This one is green peperomia. So I got both of these at Lowe's, and they're exotic angel plants. And this one is urban jungle. So this one is a peperomia SP. Okay. And then this one is a peperomia obtusifolia. However, if you Google this one, it comes up as an obtusifolia as well. So take it with a grain of salt as far as what these are, outside of just gorgeous, beautiful, easy to care for houseplants. And when I tell you these guys are easy to care for, again, because I'm not paying a lot of attention to my houseplants, this lady here was completely dried out. These stakes or stalks, canes, whatever they are, were completely drooped over. I literally thought I had lost her. I just set her in some water overnight to let it absorb from the bottom, and by the next day she was nice and perky again. As well as this one here, if you let it dry out, she gets a little bit droopy, but then she perks right back up. And the neat thing about these is they're almost succulent type because their leaves are very thick and waxy. So I'm sure that is part of their resilience of being able to deal with drought, because they will, you know, have that water storage in their leaves. And then we have my little Sansevieria snake plant, mother-in-law's tongue, depending on where you're from, depends on what it's called. But I got this from Costa Farms at the beginning of the year. I believe it was like March. And when I got her, she just had these three outer, this one, and this one. Since then, she's grown this leaf, and as you can see, I think she's got two growing yet. So she's got two. So she's got this one, and then she's got this one right down in here growing as well. And the grow lights are getting ready to go off, so it's going to have a little dark spot over there in just a moment. I was keeping everything under the grow lights for 12 hours. I have cut it down. Wait, go back. I was keeping them at 16 hours, but with the changing of the weather, I've cut it down gradually to 12 hours. So the timer is set on 12 hours. There we go. Whew. All right, and then let's look at our ginseng ficus. That was just a little side note. So here is our ginseng ficus, and he is doing rather well. Like, he's getting a little leggy, so I think I need to do a little trim back and kind of guide where I want him to grow. So he's got a new little leaf here that is struggling, and let me see. It's probably because he's dry. But another thing, you can let this dry. This is a codex type plant. They store their water in this, in their trunk. And so it's okay to let him dry out a little bit. I could probably let him, he's probably been dry for about a week. So I will give him some water after the video. But like I said, I will need to trim him back. He's getting a little stretchy and leggy. I have moved him closer to the east-facing window because where he was probably wasn't getting enough light just because of the time of year. And then last but not least on this set, let's just grab over here, is my Pilea peperomia. So I'm just going to take this leaf right here off because it is dying. All right, I want to take him out so I can show you, but to take him out I have to be like really careful. All right, so he has been in here since February. And in February, let me move the camera up some. There we go. In February, we didn't have all of these pups that we have down here. Let me move the big guy out of the way so you can kind of see. Maybe. There we go. You see, got all these pups on this side. There's two here. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 on this side. And then on this corner, ladies and gentlemen, we have 1, 2. So I'm gonna wait until the beginning of spring to repot him if I can. But I noticed the other day, he's growing out of the pot. His roots are starting to come out, but I will wait until spring because I don't want to set him back too much. I have yet to decide if I am going to plant the pups with the main plant or if I'm going to plant it separately. And if you live in the United States and you are interested in having one of these Pilea peperomia pups, go ahead and shoot me a quick email. It is in the description down below. Let me know, and when I do repot this lovely thing in the spring, I'll be more than happy to send you one for free. I'm not charging for it. I'll be more than happy to send you a free one. So again, if you are interested in having one of these in the spring, send me a quick email, let me know, and we'll get together in the spring and work out the details. But just to verify the count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 pups in there currently. Nope, 8. 7 or 8. Let's say 7 to be on the safe side. So the first 7 people who email and say they would like to have a pup, I will send you one in the spring. And like I said, it's free. I'm not charging you anything, not going to charge shipping or anything like that. If you want one, let me know. I'll be more than happy to send you one, because these can get pretty big, just so you know, and I definitely don't need 8 of them. So, all right, well, I think I got everything in this set, so let me get the next set. Let's see how many times can Trish say set. The next grouping of plants together, I'm used to saying orchids, so the next grouping of plants together, which could possibly be orchids, and we'll continue. So I'm outside. I thought I'd film these outside instead of bringing them in. So this is the Echeveria, I believe it's California Sunset. Look at all the red on her. So since being out here at the beginning, sorry about the shaky camera, but since she's been out here, beginning of the spring, she's probably been out here since, I'm gonna say April, probably May, but look at this. But she has produced this, and look how gorgeous they are. Look at the top of those. Are those not just beautiful? Look at that pink red coming out. Oh my goodness, just gorgeous. But she does have some freaking grasshopper damage where they've decided to have lunch on her. And then over here we have, let me just get around here, and this Echeveria here. If I can find a picture of when I first brought them out, you will see the mass amount of growth that both of them have put on. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. I believe this is the Lola. Let me see. Yes, this is Echeveria Lola. Is she not just beautiful? And since we're out here, let's just look at the Cymbidium California Dreamin'. Still working on this gorgeous new growth right here. Let's see. Yeah, this one here, and then she's got this new growth coming here. And then she is still producing roots out of this growth here, which was the latest one prior to those 2 new growths. Again, grasshopper damage. I guess I could be lucky or thankful that they didn't eat the new growth. I will be bringing them all in probably in the next couple of weeks. I said the end of September, but I think I'm just going to keep an eye on the weather and see what it does. But down here we also have just a bowl full of whatever. It's just a bunch of seeds. It was 2 Graptosedums. It was 2 of those. One of them has since left, just decided to die. And then this here is from a little leaf, baby leaf. Got a little baby over here, and she did have something growing off of her, and then I added more soil. I think I killed it. That's okay, she'll produce another one. And then here we have 2, I want to say these are the hens from Paula, from Hillbilly Orchids. Sorry, Paula, but Hillbilly Orchids. She recently started a YouTube channel. Y'all go check her out. Amazing lady, lots of knowledge for orchids. And they are pretty good and rooted in now. They can withstand pretty cold temperatures, but as it's their first year with me and I lost one of the other plants that she sent to me, I am going to bring these inside and winter them inside and let them get a little stronger and possibly leave them out next year. Not sure yet. And this is one of my ZZs that when I propagated, I left outside just to see what it would do. And as you can see, this back stalk back here, it suffered just a little bit. I think it was too close to the sun, so it suffered just a wee bit. But the good news is, if we look in the pot, we have us a new stalk coming. So I will be bringing her inside. Again, I'll keep an eye on the temperature. If I feel like it's going to get too low, I'll bring her in. But I want to keep her out because I'm doing a little experiment. They say that ZZs can grow anywhere, and I'm taking that literally. I have one in the basement in my husband's man cave.